This is the KitchensinkWP Podcast, episode 337.
I program my own computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology. Why, hello everybody. This is Adam Silver, the host of the KitchensinkWP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. No WordCamps, as expected, even virtuals this time. But there is something coming up in October, which I want to talk about and share with you real quick. It's called 48and48.org. It's over at, 48and48.org. It's a global virtual conference. It's 48... They're trying to build 48 websites in 48 hours across the world, technically. I spoke to their executive director just last week, and it's a compelling story. They're looking for volunteers, looking for sponsors. You can nominate a nonprofit. You can apply to be the nonprofit, etc. Check it out over at 48and48.org. In the future, I may actually have the executive director on the show here. I'd like to meet her in person. I think a great conversation. We'll talk more about that project in the future, but check it out. It's upcoming. It's not till October, but now's the time that they do need volunteers. They're looking for web developers, project managers, designers, content creators, etc. It's a great program there, so check that out over at 48and48.org. Also, that's it for upcoming events. Moving on to segment 1 in the news, a couple things here. WordPress 5.5 release candidate 2 was released last week. 5.5 itself is related. Release date is October 11th, which is the day after this episode drops. This will be on the 10th of this August, coming up here tomorrow from when I'm recording. Yeah, so check that out. What else in the news? Oh yeah, there was a critical vulnerability that was found using Divi. That was over at WordFence website. I'll put a link in the show notes. It's been patched already, but if you're running an old version of Divi Extra and Divi Builder, you might want to go ahead. You're going to want to definitely go ahead and update that as well. WordCamp US 2020 was canceled due to pandemic stress and online event fatigue. Yeah, that was kind of a bummer. I was on that team on the PR marketing side of things. And there's no 2020, even in the virtual realm. So we're revisiting that as well for 2021, what's going to happen there as far as camps, in-person events, etc. So, it was something that had to be done, apparently. It's just a lot of people, so many camps now in the virtual conference area for WordCamp specifically. And we like to be in front of people. We want to get to go people, and, there's kind of repeating the same thing. So there's no more borders, there's no more travel, which is a benefit, but then we're kind of seeing the same thing over and over again. So anyway. And lastly, in the news, a Big Orange Heart, formerly known as WP and Up, has a survey they would like you to take. It's for well-being and mental health. Just go over to the link in the show notes to pop over for that survey. It's at bigorangeheart.org/survey-2020.html. So if you could do that, they would appreciate it. All right, moving on to the meat and potatoes of this week's episode, segment 2. This week, I'm talking about the things I learned from taking my sabbatical week. So, again, I am decided to talk about this in the past. I'm taking some of my own medicine, and this is regards to self-care and more specifically burnout. Now, I've spoken about this topic in the past, episodes 225 and episodes 271, respectively. I went back and looked them up because I know I've talked about it. But like many people, I find it much easier to tell you all what to do, or at least suggest what people should do, versus doing it myself, if that makes any sense. I'm getting better along the lines of, say, my finances, tracking where money's coming. I'm not perfect, but I'm better. And so with that, I finally decided to actually do something about it myself. I realized that I haven't had a vacation or actually a break since January when I went to WordCamp Miami. But my entire family has gone somewhere this last 7 months, and my wife does travel a lot for work, not a ton lately, but as a flight attendant, she's gotten out of the house, different change of scenery, and kind of hotel rooms, etc. My kids have all gone away for at least a week at a time. My daughter was actually stuck in California for about 2 weeks, kind of stuck after spring break, and then came back home because school was changing things. But everyone's gone away except for me. So I decided to take a sabbatical, and I took this because of interest from another podcast that I listened to from Relay.fm. A couple podcast hosts over there, David Sparks from from Max Sparky. He's been on this podcast many, many years ago. He's an attorney and a content creator. And Joe and a couple other people on those shows over there. So I decided to take the week off as best I could. And first, let's have a definition. A personal sabbatical. It's defined as when you take an extended break from work, agree with your employer or yourself or whatever, 4 to 12 weeks in theory, unpaid. Okay. Of course, I'm not taking 4 to 12 weeks. That would be awesome. I'm not going unpaid because I pay myself, technically. But it's just a way of kind of just resetting things. So again, like I said, I was inspired for the podcasts. Mine was going to be a week long, and my rules were pretty basic. Nothing was to be scheduled on my calendar. I could do work if I wanted to, if I was inspired to do so, more out of a desire or passion versus a have to. And full disclosure, I mentioned this idea out 4 weeks prior to my wife and my team and my kids, and they were all happy for me, and they said good luck with a bit of sarcastic yet loving tone, because in me not working is kind of a stretch. I plan a lot. I calendar and schedule a lot. As you may have heard on this podcast in the past, I do a lot of things going on, and a lot of things are on the calendar at any given time. So it was going to be hard for me. And with that, I was giddy and scared and started pre-planning and front-loading my work weeks up to the week off, as then I don't have to be working. I could then, in theory, rest and take a break. So that's the definition. That's how I set it up. I gave myself 3.5, 4 weeks of prep time to kind of lead into this. And how did it go? What did I learn? What did I do? What did I not do? What did I wish I had done? Well, let's see. I have some bullet points here to share with you. It took me a solid 2 days to get really used to the idea of not doing anything, not having anything on my calendar, and not feeling guilty about it. That's right, a solid 2 days. And that was weird. I mean, so I worked through Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning, and then I was like, okay, I'm done. And it was just weird. It was weird waking up Monday morning and not having to do anything, not having to prep, schedule, do anything at all. On day 2, my wife came at me kind of hard with a pitch on me leaving the house to go away. And almost, I don't know, it was an awkward experience, and it kind of stressed me out a little bit, honestly, to tell you the truth. Because my issue was me trying to stay frugal, a staycation versus a vacation. And it turns out after day 3, and when I felt more pressure from her to leave, the staycation was not ideal for me. Because me at home, even though I wasn't working, I'm still dad. I'm still the dog walker. I'm still the dinner maker. I go get groceries. I do the shopping, whatever it may be. I'm around a lot. So there was expectation for me to do things. And that was not ideal for me. So that's what I learned was, like, for me, staying home, staycation, not great. Okay. So what did I do? I did get some solid naps in after about day 2 and 3. I took some solid longer naps than my 20-minute afternoon nap. I did some solid reading, which was awesome. I watched a chunk of season 1 from Ozark, which I'm now done with. I finally got into that show. It's pretty cool. And then as far as work goes, and what did I do in that relation on the timing aspect, I did check in the mornings and the evenings, but I never checked in on my computer while I was in the home office. I didn't want to get sucked in and start working. I stayed on the couch in the living room, and I did maybe a total of 15 minutes of work. I use air quotes there, work, on a daily basis. That was about it. A couple things only I could do: set up permissions in a Dropbox account because it's my account for my developer, my project manager for a project that's going on right now. But really 15 minutes at the tops per day. It was pretty nice in that sense. And I don't feel guilty about it. Obviously, I needed the time away. So the things I didn't do, which I wish I kind of wanted to do, was I didn't organize the garage, or I didn't organize the office like I really wanted to. I wanted to purge and clean more things out. Just didn't get to it. It was too hot in the garage, and in the house, if I'm in the home office, I feel like I should be working again. So that was tough. I should have spent more time outside, heat and humidity aside. I do need the vitamin D. I really need to get back outside and just experience and enjoy being outside. So I did actually, after the second day, I guess so Tuesday was when my wife got on my case a bit in a loving way. Thursday, I finally decided just to leave for about 4.5, 5 hours. I drove about 40 minutes south and found a river and a bridge and stuff, and didn't jump off the bridge, but I did get my feet in the water. There was like a boat ramp down there. It's called the Deep River, and it's called the Camelback Bridge. It's a historic monument now, apparently. And I just hung out there for about 90 minutes. And it was nice, just kind of relax. I would have stayed longer, maybe gone in the water had I had someone with me. But since the river was not moving fast, I just didn't know what was under that area. I didn't want to get sucked in, and that'd be a problem as well. So yeah, what's next? Will I do it again? The answer is absolutely yes. It'll be actually scheduled again 3 to 4 times a year, probably quarterly. It's going to have to happen. My wife is 100% on board. She gets it that I need a mental break. She appreciates the fact that I'm working hard, growing the agency, launching new ideas, these little side hustles that I'm doing, And I'm currently 100% stuck in the house. More than normal with the pandemic. So that's the problem for me and for us is I can't go anywhere else to work. I can't go to co-working. I can't go to coffee shops like I normally would just for this change of scenery. So I'm also going to plan and budget accordingly because, again, since I am doing things better financially and doing profit first, I actually have the budget set aside. I can budget it to take 2-3 days. And even if I'm working somewhere else, I can afford to go get an Airbnb or a hotel room and take some downtime as well. So that's a lot better, I think, planning for me in the future. So I'm looking forward to doing this again, actually, like 3 months from now, if not sooner, 10 to 12 weeks. That's the plan. So I will wrap it up with one of my favorite movie quotes. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. So I want to thank you to Ferris Bueller for that. I highly recommend we all take the time for mental health. You don't want to have burnout. You don't want to feel stressed. We carry it with us in different places in our bodies, shoulders, neck, back, health. Start making poor choices. You got to go out and do these things. And I am taking my own medicine. And every 10 to 12 weeks, I will be gone somewhere moving forward from now on. It's that simple. It really is. So there you have it. All right. If you have any feedback on that, if you have your ideas on what I should do next or where I should go or thoughts on that, let me know. I'd love to talk to you about that. I really would. So, all right, moving on. Segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This week, I want to mention my buddy Kyle Van Dusen's new service and his new thing. It's called Docket WP. Docket WP is a lightweight plugin that lets you easily store and access your processes and to-do lists without leaving your dashboard. It's like a checklist system. And if you know me, you know I love my checklist. I love the book, The Checklist Manifesto. I use checklists all the time, even for like every episode I do a checklist for the podcasts, both podcasts that I make. And yeah, so this is going to be a plugin that goes into your dashboard to have these processes in place. There is a demo video and it's coming out soon. It's over at docketwp.com. Check it out. Kyle is an amazing guy. It's really cool. Actually, I've been on his podcast as well. Maybe I should bring him on my podcast. Anyway, well, there you have it. Check it out. I have no other connection to them. There's no affiliate relationship. Just want to share what I think is really cool out there. I'm going to check it out myself. So I'm going to wrap it up here. If you have any questions, go ahead, send it in via email, adam@KitchensinkWP.com, or use the speak pipe function on the website. You can support the show by becoming a Patreon. You can sponsor the show, form on the website. Thank you so much for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right. Bye-bye.